fourth grader to be at those levels. And so you'll notice that in accuracy, the teacher types in the number 8 and up appears early grade 3. And so that indicates that obviously this is a fourth grader, they're not up to where they're supposed to be. And the same thing goes for fluency and comprehension in terms of this sample. And it specifically shows you, or tells the parent, what that student can do in terms of the types of words they can read, the fluency, and basically a detail of the skill. And so it goes through in terms of writing, reading, writing, math are all done in that format. So as you go through the report card, T1 refers to trimester 1, and then of course the trimester 2 ends right before spring break, and trimester 3 ends at the end of the school year. So this same report card will come up and they'll just add to it, and at the end of the year, this will all go to the cube file, just like a normal report card. Now I want to emphasize that this is not eSchool. This is our own homegrown report card, and Kevin Swan needs to be given huge kudos. He spent tons of hours this summer working on it and tons of hours this fall as well in getting this rolled out. Our school secretaries and principals, as well as the committee, all deserve lots of recognition for the amount of work it took to pull this off. So the real advantage of having this is basically this is a fancy Excel spreadsheet. This is all done in Excel. Is that we can adapt it. And we already have heard feedback from teachers and from parents as well. And we know some things we're going to change. We're a little reluctant to change too many things mid-year. Some of the things we may be able to change pretty quickly before the next trimester, and a lot of things will change over the summer. So the fact that this has the ability to change, you may have heard that eSchool, which we use with our middle and high school, because it's a national, it's a program out of a company out of Pennsylvania, getting something changed on it is Herculean. It takes a long time, it's real cumbersome, and this we can change in a short amount of time. If you go to the bottom of the second page on the report card, basically that is similar to the old report card. What we use there is that whole issue of progress, looking at the lightly gray shaded box around strong, proficient, developing. That's similar to what we had before. We decided not to change the entire report card. Down the road, we may change science, health, music to something like that if there's need. Something else that's different is at the very bottom where it says other comments. This is something that the middle and high school have had available to them and elementary haven't. So if a teacher types in the number 3 under other comments, up pops attitude, effort, improvement. And they have a choice of, I believe, 14 comments that they can choose from. So in this case, you see attitude, effort, improving, good attitude, and has shown good effort. Those are 3 positive comments. There are also a set of negative comments as well. So that gives them a little more flexibility. And then the very last page is just the one page of the scoring guide that this is what teachers base their numbers off of. So they choose whichever box or number is associated with the set of skills that they have. And at conferences, most of the teachers gave these to parents or showed them to a parent to show them they could see the progression that their student was making. So just our next steps are we're putting together a survey. We're trying to do an electronic survey to every elementary teacher in the district, and we're hoping to get that filled out we're going to get it out to them by the end of this week, and we hope they can complete it before winter break, and we'll hopefully electronically tabulate it as well, and that will give the committee some ideas about what really needs to be changed and what we can wait for. We know the math was really tricky in getting it done in the first place, and there's still a lot of confusion around the math and how to do it in this format. So the big question will be whether we can do any fine-tuning of the math this year, or we're going to wait until next summer to overhaul it. So, any questions, comments?
Have you had any feedback from staff and parents?
Actually, the interesting feedback we've gotten from parents or from some administrators that are parents, like Rich. And I think what's been interesting is it was real unfortunate we had the snow day on the conference day, because the parents who got a report card cold without the conference to talk about it they were a little puzzled. You know, they're kind of scratching their head going, I don't quite get this. But the parents who had conferences and the teachers had a chance to explain it to them have been really, for the most part, very positive. Again, it's new. I don't think it hasn't quite settled into them yet, but we haven't had, at least I haven't heard anything from the elementary principals about any parents saying, oh, this is garbage, why are we doing this, et cetera, et cetera. Staff have been mostly positive. I think we've had staff that were struggling with the technical problems because doing this, getting this saved and getting it printed by the secretary, there were some technical pieces, some staff members that are a little more technologically challenged than others. I know, you know, there were some stories out there about people creating all the report cards and then losing it and then finding it again and, you know, lost in cyberspace, that sort of thing. So the technical challenges, and we knew those would be tough the first time around. I think we'll find that's a lot better the second trimester. I think some teachers expressed a concern that the goal is measuring where they're supposed to be at the end of May. And they feel like when you put the number down that's less than that, the parent and the teacher feel like, well, I'm kind of focusing on what the kid can't do, not what they can do. And so there's a little bit of a change there in paradigm or the way it's put together. And so it's going to take a little while for that to settle in for folks. But, you know, we're waiting to get all that feedback from the staff soon. So.
Other comments or questions?
So you're going to print out a hard copy of the cumulative report card at the end of the year, and that goes in the CUME file.
That goes in the CUME file.
And then will the data stay in the Excel database for a period of time as well?
We have everything saved on this shared drive, this shared server, and Julie and I haven't talked about how long we can keep it there. I think once we print, you know, it starts taking up an awful lot of storage space.
Right.
We probably will keep it there for a while, but we don't really have to once we have a hard copy in the CUME file. So we're still up in the air. Those are the kinds of questions we're kind of dealing with as we go.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Very good. Financial, yes. Financial reports.
Yes, in your packet is the monthly general fund report. It's the very first one after the board summary. And we're not quite halfway through the year yet, so I'm still operating under the assumption that we're going to receive all the revenue stated, and we will have expenditures as planned. So the first section, 1 through 8, is, you know, as you can see, the variance is 0. So I'm still assuming we're going to get all of those funds. County, line 9, 10, same thing. Then on the section I'd like to draw your attention to is the section starting with line 15. This is where it kind of gets a little, changes are happening, and we'll see them as we go along. Line 19 is the beginning fund balance, and as we draw closer to completing the audit, the numbers are pretty sound. That's been the recommendation I've gotten from the auditors at this point, and we'll address that more in January. But I believe the beginning fund balance, if you can see, it's the second column from the right, will be the $3,141,000. It's coming in a little higher than we had anticipated, which is a positive thing. Once again, I do want to point out, this is very confusing, but we got some high-cost disability dollars early in June, and we didn't budget to spend them until July. So the beginning fund balance is larger because of that amount as well. So it's kind of a little bit of a confusion there. I didn't expect to receive them last year, and they would have fallen into that category if we received them before June 30th. So that's definitely a positive that I wanted to point out. Expenditures, as you can tell on the variance column, starting on line 21, I'm still working under the assumption that we will spend everything we budgeted. That's the best case that I can present at this point. As we get halfway through the year, that's a little bit, you know, okay, it's 50-50 now, so it gets a little bit easier to project. I have not reflected in this report the cut days at this point. Those will not go into effect from the payroll until January. We'll spread the cuts accordingly.